Looking to the inside of the ACU, we can see the filter board, the AC noise filter board with a double set of filters, filtering the 220 volts input for the 27 volts and 48 volts power supplies. Next we can see the antenna module, the antenna power module, 27 volts. So this module supplies the 27 volts for the ACU itself, but also puts 27 volts on the RX cable, which goes then to the dome. Next to that, the buck power module, the 48 volt supply unit, supplies the 48 volts on the TX cable and then goes straight into the buck. Fsk board, the communication board, so the RX cable will have the incoming RX signal. It will have 27 volts, but it will also have the communication between ACU and the antenna. Then next to that, the main control unit, the main control board, the control board for the ACU. USB interface board, together with the two USB ports and the Ethernet port sitting on the front of the ACU. The display module to show you what is going on the antenna. And the touch key pad. And basically all these parts are separate parts inside the ACU spare kit. Looking a bit closer to the inside of the ACU, you can see the main board. And on top of the main board we've got the Wi-Fi module. It's a stick-on module, which can be switched on and off by the switch on the back of the ACU. And we have the web server module, and on the web server module, this module allows you to do your remote firmware updates and also your USB firmware updates. It also has a spectrum analyzer inside, which means that from Aptus you're able to see your incoming signal. The only thing is that you need to be connected through the Ethernet port on the ACU to be able to get the option of the spectrum analyzer. Then the log files, the history of the antenna, the 5-month information which is permanently stored inside the ACU is also logged on this board. Then next we see the Fsk board, the communication board between ACU and above decks. We can see the RX and TX coax connections, and on these connections you will have the incoming RX, the outgoing communication, and also the outgoing 27 volts. And on the TX side we have the TX signal coming from the modem together with the 48 volts coming from the power supply. The Fsk module, the communication module, the modem, and this is a 400 MHz Fsk module communicating with the ACU. Looking a bit closer to the inside of the ACU, two main boards. The ACU main board, and on the ACU main board we've got the main control unit, the main processor unit for the Fsk module, and also to drive the display to show you what is happening. And also it has the modem interface to communicate with the different types of modem. The CAN driver, the NMEA 2000 interface, is sitting on that board. And also on top of that board there is the web server module, a Linux based module, which allows you to do the remote access to the remote firmware updates and also the USB updates. And also on that board the history log record. As I said before, there will be around 4 or 5 months of information stored inside the ACU at all times. And on board that on top of that board we also have the spectrum analyzer, and this option would give you the possibility to check your incoming signal by selecting the spectrum analyzer inside Aptus program. The only thing is that you need to be connected on the Ethernet port on the front of the unit or the back of the unit to have the spectrum analyzer available. Then the Fsk board, as I said, is the control board, the communication board between ACU and above deck unit. It's an Fsk module, so it's communicating on 400 MHz. And also on that board we've got the power interface for the antenna and buck power interface, so that the 27 volts and 48 volts can be added to the signal on the coax cable.